A group of adventurers who just cleared tough dungeons were making fun of a healer who wasn't part of any guild. But then, a player in a red jacket and a lady approached the healer. The healer congratulates them on gaining a promotion. They asked him to join them in clearing a normal level dungeon. The healer felt unsure due to his low healing skills, but the player in the red jacket warned him that his hunting license could be taken away if he refused. Reluctantly, the healer agreed. In a dungeon, the team faced a monster, and the player in the red jacket led the attack. When their strategy failed, the lady used her magical energy to bind the monster, and the player attacked with a powerful sword strike. The healer marveled at their abilities and wished for similar powers. After defeating the monster, valuable items appeared. The healer was excited about a precious stone and a weapon. The player in the red jacket decided to keep the stone, while the healer was offered the sword as an upgrade. Although the weapon wasn't amazing, it was still an improvement for the healer. The healer thanked them and was told that he would be invited to join the group again. They hinted that they might have encountered a hidden boss in their adventure as they noticed another massive monster. And so, the healer's journey with this new team began, full of difficult and mysterious challenges. The team of adventurers faces a big challenge. There's a secret giant monster with a strong battle axe in front of them. The healer is curious if they've heard about secret boss monsters in normal dungeons, and the player in the red jacket explains that they might have just encountered one. They discuss whether they should fight it, and the healer warns that hidden bosses are very strong and dangerous. The lady in the group reassures the healer that there are many of them, while the player in red jacket said that they should observe the monster first. One player with a double-edged battle axe seems overconfident and wants to attack the boss. He activates a special skill, but the boy in the red jacket warns him that it won't be easy. The confident player tries to attack the boss, but to everyone's shock, the boss easily defeats him and takes his axe. The group panics, and the lady uses her magical skill to analyze the boss's attributes. She realizes that although the boss's health isn't only high, its other abilities are much stronger than that of the regular bosses. Everyone starts to worry, but the player in the red jacket encourages them not to panic. He suggests that if they work as a team, they might have a chance to win. The player in the red jacket, who is the leader, reassures everyone that the boss isn't invincible. He explains that they need to avoid the boss's attacks and fight together to survive. With determination, he encourages his teammates to attack the hidden boss and gives the signal to start the battle. Attack the hidden boss and watch for his attacks, the leader instructed. Now suppress him, the lady cried out with a loud voice. If we keep working together like this to fight the hidden boss, there is a chance to beat him. Let's go everyone, one of the players said, encouraging the others to keep up with the teamwork and the fighting spirit. The hidden boss's health ratio has fallen to half, the lady reported. Don't relax everyone. Hold out against the hidden boss, keep attacking and protect the healers, the leader instructed. Everyone keep going, don't stop, the lady yelled out, shouting with a loud voice. The players attacked the monster with their magical powers from a safe distance. With a powerful attack like this, it doesn't matter what the hidden boss stats are. He will fall down within a short time, another player said, encouraging the others. But even with all the fiery and powerful attacks launched against the monster, he doesn't seem to be affected at all. What? That didn't affect him. And he looks very angry now. A player said, keep going everyone, hold out against the hidden boss. The hidden boss has a low-level health stat now, a player said, encouraging his teammates to keep up with their resilience and maintain their fighting positions. The hidden boss's health stats had dropped significantly, so his body reacts to this by producing a skill called Madness so as to enable the hidden boss to be able to maintain a healthy status and function at his best once again. Is this a rage skill or the hidden boss's madness? A player asked. What madness? Isn't the hidden boss supposed to be dying? The healer asked. Madness is a special skill for hidden bosses. It activates when their health stats drop to a specific limit, the lady explained. The attributes of the bosses in the madness state gets improved again, because only a few bosses have this ability. I really wasn't expecting this one to have it, the lady said. The players thought about the next line of action to take for their survival. The team leader assured them that they still had a chance to survive the hidden monster's attacks. He plans to gather enough strength with time and kill the hidden boss with his sword. He believes that was the only chance they have to survive. The healers hoped that the other players were able to make successful attacks on the hidden boss. The players agreed to continue working together, supporting one another in their fight against the hidden boss. Right now, you'll die right here, the leader cried. The players continue to launch attacks against the hidden boss with their leader fighting the monster with the sword. The monster moved up suddenly and was coming down simultaneously. The team leader thought that he could strike the monster while it was descending, but his sword missed a hit. Nevertheless, he continues to fight with the monster and he requests that his teammates should launch magical attacks against the hidden boss. Not enough? Don't stop. Let's keep going, he said as a lady launches her lotus fire against the hidden boss. The fire engulfed the hidden boss, and the leader gets a clear chance to attack the monster. Just fucking die, he said as he strikes the hidden boss with his sword. The players wondered if the hidden boss had died. Some think that the hidden boss will never be able to survive that kind of attack. The players waited for some minutes, but there was no response from the hidden boss. The players assumed that their enemy has been conquered and were celebrating their short-lived victory, when all of a sudden, the hidden boss gear up its ugly head again. No, it's not dead, one of the players said, looking frightened. No, everyone run, he is alive, he's not dead yet, the player screamed in terror. He took no damage at all, a player said. Don't just stand there, run, the leader instructed. The leader has lost his courage and his will to fight against the monstrous hidden boss. Above all, he was terrified. The hidden boss destroyed everything that comes all his path. The players were confused. They tried fighting with their remaining strength, but they were all killed by the huge monstrous hidden boss, all of them, except a man, who was a healer. This healer was regarded as a failure. He had been enjoying protections from his teammates all the other times, but now he was left alone to dance to the tune of fate. He felt weak. He thought that he was left behind because he was weak. He could hear different voices in his head, voices that speaks discouraging words that he had often hear from some folks in time past. It seems that he was a loser, a waste and useless in life. But, despite the many negative voices in his head, he encouraged himself and braced up for the challenge ahead of him. He saw a sword. You are not a loser. You can kill the boss. Stand up and take the sword. You can do it. Those were the voices of his teammates whom the hidden boss had killed. He picked the sword. He decided that it would be better for him to fight for his life than just dying cheaply. He was determined to die a brave man, so he ran towards the smiling monster and he did the unbelievable. He plunged the sword right in the hidden boss's right breast. The sword sank therein and the powerful monster let out a loud cry out and gave up the ghost. I avenged you guys. You all can be at peace now, he said triumphantly. As the monster's blood swept his face, he saw a bright radiant light. He thought that he was in another world. He was floating on the ground surface, and he noticed that he had new clothes. He thought he was dead, until he saw a status window that congratulated him and conferred the title of the last high priest upon him. He was rewarded with the Blade of Evolution. 𝐬𝐮 woke up from his sleep, looking terrified and frightened, sweating profusely also. He had been dreaming all the day. He was a healer with a very weak control ability. Because of that, he was often rejected by most of the teams, and he became an object of ridicule in the sight of everyone. Until a few weeks ago, when his two best friends took him to the underground dungeon and sacrificed their lives to protect him. Luckily for him, he was the only survivor of the dungeon incident. Although the guild did not continue their investigation about the incident, but the incident had gone wild like the Harmattan fire. People have spread the rumors of the dungeon incident and have nicknamed him a cursed healer. They told him that he doesn't deserve teammates, but he deserves to be alone as trash healer. He took a bottle of water and drank it. He looked at the room. It was dirty because it had not been cleaned in a month. He took an overall and wear it. He covered his face and was determined not to be noticed or recognized by anyone. He went to the supermarket to get few loaves of bread. In the supermarket, he overheard people talking about the dungeon incident. Worse still, people believed that the healer was the one responsible for the underground massacre, since he was the only one that survived. They thought he killed the whole team in order to monopolize the dungeon rewards. He took some loaves of bread and decides to pay with his credit card. But the balance on his credit card can only purchase a loaf of bread. He took the loaf of bread and went away. 𝐬𝐮 thought about how he could make money to fend for himself. He had stayed at home for the past few weeks. He wondered how he could make money without no team or friends. What should I do, he said to himself. Then an idea came to his mind. He remembered that he could hunt in the Novice Dungeon. The Novice Dungeon is a man-made dungeon, located in the city center. Novice hunters go there to familiarize themselves and practice their abilities. The Novice Dungeon has low difficulty and the payment after the clearance is also very small. 𝐬𝐮 went to the Novice Dungeon, amidst mockery from the other players, who consider him as a trash healer. He hoped that he could fend for himself with the earnings he got from hunting in the Novice Dungeon. At the entrance of the dungeon, he saw a notice on the window panel with the caption, "Welcome to the Novice Experience Dungeon." He was qualified for the evolution mode of the Novice Dungeon. Another caption wishing him a pleasant experience was displayed on the window panel. 𝐬𝐮 was pondering on what the evolution mode could mean. When he saw a thick fog, he sensed that the appearance of the fog was because of the evolution sword that was in his hands. He was given the task of eliminating 100 earth elemental materials. Then the fog disappeared. The earth elemental materials were so big, it has a lot of attack power, but it has a very slow speed. 𝐬𝐮 decides to drop his weapons and try out his strength. He ran towards the huge earth elemental material, and he start fighting it with bare hands. But he discovered that he can't fight the elemental materials with his fists, so he took his sword and continued fighting the earth elemental materials. He felt stronger after defeating the first earth elemental material. His strength, speed, and resistance levels were enhanced. He leveled up multiple times after destroying the earth elemental materials. He was given the earth essence as his reward. 𝐬𝐮 was so tired after destroying the numerous earth elemental materials. He looked up and checked the window panel. On the window panel, he was given another mission, this time to destroy 100 water elemental. 𝐬𝐮 wondered what the earth essence could be and what it could be used for. He was surprised why it was the only item given to him as a reward for completing the previous mission. While he was still thinking about the use of the earth essence, the window panel displays relevant information about the earth essence and how it can be used, but the effect of the earth essence remains a mystery. He realized that the earth essence is a treasure and he decides to keep it carefully till he had enough time to investigate its uses. He doesn't know what his next challenge would look like. He is afraid that he may die if mysterious things keep happening. A bright radiant light appeared for a few seconds, then there was a heavy snowstorm. He saw snows and large crystals descending down. He thought that the crystals are some kind of big snows, until those crystals begin to merge together. The merged pieces of crystal formed the huge water elementals. 𝐬𝐮 charged forward to attack the huge water elementals, but his attacks were not effective as the water elementals remained undamaged. He wondered what he could do to destroy the water elementals and why the water elementals could not be affected by his attacks. He tried again and he discovered that the water elementals had great regenerative effect that heals and rebuilds their damaged body parts. It also possesses extremely high defensive power. 𝐬𝐮 finds it difficult to fight the icy water elementals and he was afraid of dying there. "Am I going to die here?" he lamented. As he was thinking of what to do, the window panel comes up with some tips. He decides to utilize the tips given to him and he merged his weapon and the earth essence together. The window panel announced that his weapons had the ability to petrify. This is a unique skill that increases the enemy's defense by 30%, but reduces the enemy's speed by 50% and it also prevents the enemy's healing effect for 3 seconds. 𝐬𝐮 was happy that the heavens came to his rescue as he got vital information on how he could deal with his enemy. He charged forward once again and this time he was victorious as he destroyed quite a number of the icy water elementals, until the window panel showed that he still had to deal with one icy monster. He wondered where the monster could be. Then the ice elementals start merging again. Then out of the blues came the elegant but dangerous Snow Queen. 𝐬𝐮 was happy to see another hidden boss. He believes that just as he had conquered the previous one, he is going to do the same to the Snow Queen. The Snow Queen evolved from the Ice Golem. 𝐬𝐮 hoped that the Snow Queen will be his last enemy. He wondered if he would be able to handle the Snow Queen as his health stats was heavily damaged in the previous battle, though his strength stat is high enough to battle with the Snow Queen. He looked at the window panel. His stats has a low profile. But he believes in himself. He believes that he had to fight with the Snow Queen, even if that will be a dead end for him. "Come over, I have survived lots of attacks before now, kill me now if you have the guts," he said as he moves towards the Snow Queen. 𝐬𝐮 thought that the Snow Queen and the Ice Golem are both the same, since both come from the elemental ice. He thought that he could turn the Snow Queen to stone. But to his surprise, the Snow Queen remains unaffected as she had a mighty defensive power in her. This makes it difficult for 𝐬𝐮 to petrify her, worse still, low attack powers. He thought about using common attacks. The Snow Queen walks towards 𝐬𝐮. She starts to release heavy ice crystals. This was her ultimate attack. 𝐬𝐮 slides down in the midst of her attacks in order to avoid being smashed into pieces by the heavy ice crystals. He stood up, bent down a little bit as he looked for an opportunity to hit the Snow Queen with a common attack. He got one and make good use of it, as he had expected. The Snow Queen got distracted and she responds with a common attack which he cleverly blocked. He continues to hit the Snow Queen and avoid her attacks, trusting the method to be his winning strategy in the battle. He overpowered the Snow Queen with a 10,000 times attack defense combination strategy. Then he unlocks the deadly attack skill. With the deadly attack skill, he could make common attacks that will break the enemy's defense and cause a 10% additional damage to the enemy, but he will lose 1% of his health in the process. 𝐬𝐮 was glad that he could get a new skill in a terrible situation. He wondered if his creator is curious about his winning or losing the battle. If so, he thought, "There is no way I can lose," he said. 𝐬𝐮, even after acquiring the new skill, is faced with the challenge of battling with the Snow Queen. He guessed he had to be strong and brave. Putting his life on the line, he activates the deadly attack skill and charged towards the merciless Snow Queen. He bent down a little bit and he cut off the Snow Queen's arm. The Snow Queen let out a cry. She ran to a hiding place, regenerates her arm, and she carried a new weapon. The The Snow Queen jumps up so high, lifting her weapon up in the air as she plans to pin 𝐬𝐿 to the ground with it, but 𝐬𝐿 dodged her attack. 𝐬𝐿 thinks that he needs to plan well and exploits the Snow Queen loopholes or capitalize on her mistakes. The Snow Queen avoids his sword and released heavy icy crystals. He saw the need to act fast and avoid delays, so as to attack the Snow Queen before she released her skill. He moved towards the Snow Queen. They both make high jumps as 𝐬𝐿 strikes the Snow Queen with his sword. Immediately, her body gets deteriorated and she was completely destroyed. On the window panel, the time he received a congratulatory message, he was rewarded with the water essence, an ice shard that exudes a cold aura. He was asked if he would like to fuse the aura. He did that and he discovered that with the water essence, he could recover 0.1% of his health per attack. 𝐬𝐿 thought that it was useless at first, but he had a change of mind because the skill can be upgraded. 𝐬𝐿 was satisfied with himself. He had been able to survive gruesome attacks long enough from the monstrous beings, so he left the dungeon. At the dungeon doorway, some of the players looked at him and wondered why he could be in a perfect condition, despite all that happened in the dungeon. There are other players from the league that visit the dungeon. They were injured. The guild authorities wondered how their players could be injured in the novice dungeon, because it is the dungeon with the lowest difficulty. Somebody please help me. The player shouted in agony. What happened? 𝐬𝐿 asked. What happened here? 𝐬𝐿 asked, looking surprised as he saw some players that were seriously injured. He thought about what could have happened that led to the other players having fatal injuries. 𝐬𝐿 met a lady and he asked if she could explain what happened to the other players. The lady narrated all that had happened in the dungeon to him. She said that while she and her team were practicing their skills in the dungeon, something strange happened. She said a black smoke suddenly appeared on the ground, then something fell off and they all started to draw back. Everything happened too fast, she explained. As the smoke dispersed, the normally weak and feeble monsters suddenly become extremely powerful, and because they couldn't deal with the monsters, the players ran away. I was carelessly injured on my waist, she lamented. After that, she continues, we were forcibly transported outside, because the time limit was over. If that weren't the case, I'm afraid I would have been dead by now, she said with a tone of gratitude. A few hours later, 𝐬𝐿 thought deeply. He thought that his presence in the novice dungeon might be responsible for the strange happenings in the novice dungeon. He thought that he may not just be able to enter any dungeon just anyhow in the future. He thanked the lady and he went away. As he was going away, he met players from the 𝐬𝐿 Guild. Those players were assigned with the task of handling the situations at the novice dungeon by the league. The 𝐬𝐿 Guild is the biggest guild in the city. There are so many people in the guild. The guild has so many people in the healers and investigation team working together to help get information and treat injured players from the dungeon. Oh, isn't this our old friend? A lady from the 𝐬𝐿 Guild said as she called out to 𝐬𝐿. Why do you come alone? She asked. Let me see whether you're injured or not, she said. Is it because no one wants to form a team with you? Ho ho ho, how pitiful, she said, mocking him, but 𝐬𝐿 walked away from her. You dare ignore me? Why do you have to leave fast, going to your nanny? She said, making jest of him. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I forgot that she is already dead. Ha ha ha, she said, laughing and making mockery of 𝐬𝐿. In a fit of rage, as fast as the lightning, he draws his sword quickly and placed it by the side of her neck. He threatens to kill her unless she took back what she had said. She was amazed at the speed at which he brandished his sword. She wonders if he is the healer she knew. And manager from 𝐬𝐿 noticed this and told them that having duels is prohibited in the novice dungeon area. He warned that he would deal with them if they ever dare to attack themselves. The man's face looked familiar to 𝐬𝐿. He remembers that he had seen the man somewhere else. He remembers that the man is one of the managers of the 𝐬𝐿 Guild. He is in charge of the daily affairs and his power is of the diamond rank. I'd better go now, he said to himself. I will leave. I better not see you again, he said. Hang on, little brother. I have not finished my speech yet. There is another place you can visit if you want to have a duel, the manger stated. That's right, we can have a duel at the arena, the lady replied, interrupting the manger. I must have been too tired. When he attacked, he's just an healer. How could he rival me, she thought. The lady asked if 𝐬𝐿 would dare challenge her in a duel. Another player interrupted and said he doesn't expect 𝐬𝐿 to take up the challenge. But 𝐬𝐿 accepts the challenge. The League of the Hunters Arena is a place where hunters can freely have duels with one another. Many hunters come there every day to enhance their combat skills. There are two ways of fighting at the arena. The first one is a friendly spar, which has a time limit. The second one is a fight to death, which will only come to an end when one of the opponents collapses. 𝐬𝐿 and the lady, who was known as Liu by her colleagues, went together with another player to the arena. The lady and the other player thought that he was stressed because of his earlier experience in the novice dungeon and also for the fact that it was his first duel. Liu insults him. She calls him a weak and a useless fellow. The other player advised that Liu would have to take the duel gently with 𝐬𝐿. Liu said she could let him off if he would kneel down before her. She said that she won't be gentle on him if he agrees to fight with her. The other player advised J to beg them if he doesn't want to be tortured. J replied that there is no need for him to beg anyone. The three of them went to the arena manager for the registration. Liu told the manager that she would like to register for a friendly spar just to make J a scapegoat. The other player laughed and said that Liu has made the right decision to increase her winning stats. Liu agrees with the player and said that she saw her duel with J as an opportunity also. J was asked by the arena manager if he had an objection against Liu's choice of fight mode. J replied that he wants to choose the fight to death mode. The arena manager was shocked. He told J that he would need an abyss agreement from a hidden boss, which seems almost impossible. Little boy, you're in a hurry to die, a player said. Wanna meet your friends in hell? Liu asked with an evil grin on her face. Liu thought that J knows nothing about an abyss agreement, not to talk of getting one. But to her surprise, J produced an abyss agreement. Look, that guy has an abyss agreement, there is fun to see. A player said in amazement. How can you have this? You're just a bronze rank, Liu said. There is no way. You could have met an hidden boss. You stole it, didn't you? The player said, shouting at J. Liu thought that it was impossible for J to have gotten an abyss agreement, being the weak and unfortunate healer she knew. She thought that J could have acquired the hidden boss through stealing or some other unlawful means. She believed that she is going to be alright. J was eager to get a fight to death mode of the duel. He asked if his wish for that mode of duel would be granted. The arena manager explained that his abyss agreement will compel his opponent to agree to a fight to death mode of the duel. The other players were excited. They watched eager with anticipation. It has been a long time since players ever agreed to have a fight to death duel. They don't really want to miss the fight for anything. The players wondered what could have happened between the two players that wants to engage in a fight to death mode of the duel. They must have been in deadly feud with one another, one thought. Who knows, it might be over a loot issue, another reasoned. Little boy, since you have seen my accomplishment, do you regret your choice now? Don't worry, I will leave your corpse intact, she said boastfully after her profile. And that of J was displayed. She truly had a huge record of success in every duel she had engaged. She had 16 wins and 2 draws. She had never lost a duel in comparison with J, who has never got engaged in a duel before. But is the secret achiever and courageous fighter going to have a breakthrough again? This time it's in the open. The world of players are waiting, and so are you, so let's go. When people saw Zheng's profile, they said he must be joking, since he was a healer, and healers are players that have the least fighting skills and strength, if any. They are being protected by hunters and other team members in any dungeon adventure. Others thought that he had simply come to be killed. They all agreed that the duel worth their attention. Zheng believes in himself, and he was so confident in his skills despite all the insults hurled at him by the spectators. He stands brave and looks focused as he waits patiently to avenge himself of the cruel insults been hurled at him by his boastful opponent. Just come over here, he said. He stretches out his sword. His eyes welled up vengeance, and his heart was full of hatred for Liu. You rubbish, today I will kill you, Liu said with annoyance. 𝐬𝐫𝐫 was one player in the arena. She received a call from her master. Her master told her to make a live broadcast of the duel. She told her master that even though it is a fight to death kind of duel, she didn't expect the bronze rank Zheng to perform any better than his opponent. Her master told her to stop talking nonsense and obey his instructions. 𝐬 reluctantly obeys her master's instructions. She took her phone and she started making a live broadcast. Hello everyone, I am 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭. I am going to show you a live broadcast of a fight to death. Remember to like and subscribe, she said. Zheng stood still. Liu promised to deal seriously with him. She charged forward towards him with the speed of an assassin. She splits into multiple bodies of herself, with one of the bodies being her real self, while the other bodies are the shadows of her real self. Both her real self and its shadows look alike that one could be confused. Together with those similar bodies, she forms a circle around him. Then she herself was at his back. She tried to backstab him, but he dodged and the spectators marveled. Some of the spectators thought that he was lucky to have dodged a backstab, others thought that Liu missed her target. Liu was also surprised that Zheng dodged her backstab. She wondered how he was able to see through her backstab attack. Zheng was also amazed that what she called the speed of an assassin was just like the moves of a snail to him. She reminds herself that he is only a bronze-ranked player. Then she told him not to get excited over his little breakthrough. She looked at her window panel and saw both his stats and her stats. She thought she could crush him easily, since she had enough strength, power, and agility more than him. She told him that he doesn't have enough strength, then she attacked him. But he blocked her attacks. The spectators were amazed that Zheng could hold his ground, despite being a healer. At that point, she thought that he could be hiding his rank, as he doesn't seem to be the trash healer that he was rumored to have been. So she decides to get serious with the fight and kill him. She tried her special skill, the Mist of Deception. Even if you're not as weak as it seems, you're still dead against my innate ability, Liu said boastfully. You mist looks like water. I am sorry to disappoint you, but your innate ability seems a little pathetic, Zheng replied. He unleashed one of his special skills and petrified the mist. The spectators told that he was swinging aimlessly, but Liu could see that her mist of deception is fading away slowly. Then the spectators got to know that the mist is actually thinning out. Do you know arrogance can be expensive? 𝐬𝐮 said as she moved towards Liu and bring her down with his sword. The spectators were terrified. How on earth will a healer be able to kill an assassin? Now let's see who is talking shit, he said as spectators watched their champion brutally defeated. You're just a bronze-ranked player. Why? She said as she coughed out blood. I was passing by. You shouldn't have shown killing intent, let alone insult me, he said. All because of this, she said as she coughed out blood. From his window panel, he saw that his weapon has activated a new mode and he now has the ability to wield 2 weapons. Liu's partner regrets that he underestimated 𝐬𝐮 and he doesn't know what to tell their guild leader. 𝐬𝐫𝐫 was already live streaming the fight to death match. She told her audience of how a bronze-ranked player knocked out a silver-ranked assassin. Everyone was surprised that a bronze-ranked healer challenged a silver-ranked assassin and brought her down. The audience are in high spirits and they all shouted that 𝐬𝐮 should kill Liu. 𝐬𝐮 paced around the badly wounded and defenseless Liu. He reminds her that he is now in possession of her life and he told her to beg for her life. She apologized and asked that he spare her life. 𝐬𝐮 told her that he knew that he would have died already if she was in his present position. He told her that she had brought all the troubles on herself with her painful insults and boastful talks. He demanded that she also have to save her life with her mouth by admitting and saying that she is a shameless and senseless person. She admitted that she was wrong and that all that came upon her was all her fault as people were watching her all over the world. 𝐬𝐫𝐫 and her mistress were happy to have more numbers of viewers on their broadcast channel. More importantly, her mistress was happy that the player that challenge and defeat the sliver rank was from their guild. She thinks that the person has created a gateway to reviving the guild. Outside the arena, 𝐬𝐮 was praised as a hero and a role model for the healers. Everyone wants to have him as a friend. 𝐬𝐮 perceived the Huang Tu Guild will revenge in the future, though he knew that it may not be quick, but he knew he needs to strive to become stronger in preparation for whatever will happen in the future. He thought to himself that no matter what would happen, he doesn't regret his choice of sparing Liu's life. At the Huang Tu Guild, Liu was beaten mercilessly by her boss, who called her a bitch. One of her teammates tried to intervene, but he got beaten also with the long of held by the boss. The boss ordered that Liu's hands should be tied separately to the pillars. Then he begins to flog her mercilessly for disgracing the Huang Tu Guild's reputation and for daring to come back. She was beaten to pulp by her boss. She became unconscious. He told her that her life is worth nothing compared to the reputation of the Huang Tu Guild. A businessman was sitting around the corner. He asked Liu's boss to sell her off to him, since he hated her so much. Her partner was angry and he was ready to devour the businessman. His boss ordered him to go back, but he couldn't listen until the businessman destroyed one of his arm with his mysterious skill. Liu's boss apologized to the businessman for the rash action of one of his players, who happens to be Liu's partner. The businessman asked about the boss's decision. The boss said he agrees to sell off Liu to him. The businessman smiles and reaches out to Liu. He said to Liu's boss that his money will arrive in 3 days' time. Then the man mysteriously disappeared. Liu's boss asked someone to take Liu's partner to the hospital. He was unhappy to have lose 2 players in a day. Byron is the name of the businessman. He is an underground merchant that is active in guild circles. Nobody knows who he works for, but he only appears once in a while to do business with people. His business deals varies, but he cannot be rejected. Once someone rejects his offer, the whole guild will pay for it with their lives. After completing his business deals, he will leave his contact details along with the payment. Liu's boss decides to look for and kill 𝐬𝐮 to avenge the loss of his 2 active players in the guild. Byron carried Liu's body to an isolated area and placed the transformation stone on her. The stone seeps her skills and power, leaving her lifeless. 𝐬𝐮 admitted that he is not the same anymore, even though he had been mocked by those around him when he was weak. But things has changed since then as plans to leave on and get stronger, so that no one will ever call him a weakling again. At the general lobby of the Hunters Association, 𝐬𝐮 admitted that he was really bad at healing as lots of people have awakened their innate ability, but he hasn't noticed any sign of awakening. He saw the need to rely on absorbing awakening stones. He thought that could be also expensive. The thoughts of being a player in a team came to his mind. He remembers that the dungeon could overwrite the original dungeon and this could cause harm to the other players in the dungeon. He was greeted by 𝐬𝐫𝐫, who wants 𝐬𝐮 to be her teammate. 𝐬𝐫𝐫 introduced herself to 𝐬𝐮. 𝐬𝐮 wonders how 𝐬𝐫𝐫 knows her. 𝐬𝐫𝐫 said that she became an internet celebrity because she live-streamed 𝐬𝐮's fight with Liu. She told him that she had been into live streaming for a long time, but haven't gained as much fame as she gained from live streaming 𝐬𝐮's fight with Liu. Some people soon noticed that 𝐬𝐮 was around the area, especially the ladies. They asked if he could take pictures with them. He accepted. After taking pictures, 𝐭 drags 𝐬𝐫𝐞 away in the midst of the crowd. He pinned her to the told her that he wants to keep a low profile, and that what she did previously has put him in a very dangerous situation. He told her that causing the Hwang-2 guild to lose their reputation had already made him a target. 𝐬𝐫𝐞 responded that she understands his situation. She asked 𝐭 if they could go for hunting together in the dungeon. 𝐭 replied that they could actually go for hunting if she agrees with his 2 demands, which means that he owns every awakening stone drops and the other one being that she is only allowed to come along. 𝐬𝐫𝐞 was surprised that 𝐭 was still a bronze-ranked player, since he had not awakened his innate ability. She finds it odd and absurd for them to go to a 5-man dungeon all alone. She feared that they might die. 𝐭 told her that those are the 2 conditions she will have to fulfill if she really wants to go to the dungeon with him, but if not she would have to forget about hunting at the dungeon with him. Then 𝐭 walks away. 𝐬𝐫𝐞 thought that she had to go with him, so that she can be able to carry out the task given to her by the guild leader to get information about 𝐭. She decides to follow 𝐭 to the dungeon. She called out his name asking him to wait and she ran after him.